Welcome to Your Son, the Youth and Women's Support Network. I'm Charmaine Sangari from Myself Central. The past few weeks we've been talking about going on a journey to wholeness, and whilst this journey is tailored for women who have come out of an incarcerated situation and ex-offenders, it's really important to visualise this journey as any freedom from any mental incarceration that we could have put ourselves into, or if we've been in an emotionally abusive relationships, we've also become prisoners to ideals that people have had of us, and we may have gone through this other journey where we have imprisoned ourselves. So this journey is for anyone who wants freedom and wants a sense of purpose and inner peace. Often we can find ourselves in conversations that we know are not helpful to our progress, to our growth mindset, or to our well-being in general. Some people can get very used to dumping their problems on you, and whilst it's really good to support someone, if that person is not willing to support themselves and to do what is necessary to get themselves out, it's not beneficial and it's not healthy for you to be their sounding board all the time, because you will become their emotional dumping ground. And you really have to set more time aside for yourself within this situation. During this time of transition, it is really important to start being aware of the conversations that you are allowing yourself to be involved in. For example, if you are talking to someone and you are finding yourself being emotionally drained, you have to start setting boundaries by just making the time to go and do your own thing and to focus on the little things and the little steps that you need to put into place for you to actually get to the next level of where you want to be. When you study the idea of law of attraction, you come across a common theme, and whether or not you believe in law of attraction, it's still a principle that is really good to stand by, and it is like attracts like. So when you're spending time in conversations that are keeping you in a low vibration and in the same mode that you've always been used to, you're not going to attract new things into your reality, because your mind frame and your conversation and what you're involving yourself in is not in alignment with where you actually want to be. So for you to be in alignment with who you want to be, it's time for you to start now speaking, talking, walking, dressing like the person that you want to be. You have to start emulating your best self now for you to become your best self. And that is quite hard when you are spending time on conversations and in situations that aren't conducive to your reality that you want. When we're talking about being selective in our conversations, the one thing that's going to come up is gossip, the topic of gossip, and how you involve yourself in gossip. Now, we're all guilty of it, especially as females. We can be a bit more manipulative, and also we don't like confrontation necessarily, so we'll say something behind someone's back and not necessarily say it to their face. I think venting is different from gossiping, and sometimes there does need to be a level of venting, but that venting should always be accountable venting, where you actually are going to say it to the person's face directly, and the venting may just be a process of just getting some of the steam and the anger and the emotion out so that you can handle the situation better in the future with that person. If you're not going to have that person in your life and you're just talking about them behind their back, then it's wasted, draining energy, and it's not even worth your time even talking about it. And also on a really deep level, subconsciously, your body and your subconscious doesn't recognize that you're actually talking about another person. So your body actually just absorbs every single word that you say, and on a conscious level you may be talking about someone else, but your subconscious is thinking that you're talking about yourself. So it can actually be really damaging to your own countenance and your own character. Obviously, gossiping can hurt people's feelings, it can ruin people's reputations, and it also does ruin your reputation because you come across as a person that's not trustworthy. If someone can gossip with you, they can gossip about you, and that's generally the rule. It's not generally what happens, but it is a possibility. So it is really important that you're selective with who you're talking about and with what you're talking about. Most important conversations that you need to be aware of are the ones that you have with yourself. That's why it's really good to spend a bit of time every day, 10 minutes, not necessarily meditating and clearing your mind, but actually observing the thoughts that come into your mind. It's really important to observe the thoughts that are coming into your mind so that you know where the root of pain is in yourself. So if you have very angry thoughts, you know you have a root of anger. If you have very self-defeating thoughts, you have a self-esteem issue. If you are always feeling guilty, then you have a shame pain that you need to deal with. And this is usually something that's occurred in childhood. That is why organisations like Your Son are so important, so that you are able to have access to support workers and counsellors and life coaches that are going to help you identify where your root of pain is so that you're able to heal. So being aware of your own chatter in your head and your own negative self-talk, and knowing whether or not to actually engage in that conversation with yourself is really important. So you may have a thought that pops up throughout the day, and this thought could be something that is talking about your past. It could be something about your present. It could be something that has not even happened yet, so it's in your future. Unless it's something that you can actually deal with in the moment, it's not actually beneficial to you. So at that point, we can't choose what thoughts come into our head, but we can choose whether to let them germinate in our mind and whether we choose to water them and let them grow as weeds in our psyche. So it's really important to start noticing what you say to yourself, and try and be a bit kinder to yourself. Try and be a bit more compassionate with yourself. Be a bit more patient and understanding with yourself. You are going through a transition, and you are going through a period that not everyone has to go through, but we do understand what the process of freedom is, and it comes from the incarceration that we can put ourselves in our mind with the thoughts that we have. That is what binds us to old ways and old habits and old behaviours. So to change that, we need to change our thought pattern. That's why watching things like this, watching things about how to better yourself, are so important, because you can't necessarily change your mindset. But what you can do is fill your mind with enough things that become so positive that they start to overflow into your reality. If you do need any support and you need to talk to someone, or you would like to be put in touch with a professional who is able to help you identify some of the roots of pain in your life, do contact yourson.org. And you can also contact me, Charmaine Sangari, on Myself Central or Misk More. This week, I want you to start thinking about how you can start reining in your thoughts. And I like to use a technique called the Stufu, which is basically telling yourself to shut the F up. You have to be the one in control of the thoughts that you have, and you have to be the one who's in control of saying, no, I don't accept that, reject it. And you can literally move yourself in your own consciousness. You can take yourself from being angry and depressed and anxious to knowing that that's not something you can deal with in this present moment. Therefore, you can choose the emotion that you want to go to by just changing the thought that you have. I really hope that helps. And if you do need any more support, or you need any more explanation on how to do this, do contact me. Have a yawesome day.